Surds exam preparation. By now you should have covered the following topics within this section. We started out with the Surds multiplication rule. Root AB is equal to root A times root B, and we discussed how we look for factors that are square numbers, which can help us in simplifying surds. We then moved on to the surds division rule. Root A over B is equal to root A over root B, and again how we can use the division rule to help simplify surds. And then we discussed the addition and subtraction rule. M root A plus n root A is equal to m plus n root A. Where the surds are the same, we can simply add them or subtract them. We then discussed rationalizing the denominator. When we have a fraction with a surd at the bottom, we want to get rid of the surd at the bottom of the fraction. So we multiply both top and bottom by the surd. A over root B is equal to A times root B over root B times root B, which gives us A root B over B, rationalizing the denominator. This topic will now cover the types of question you are likely to see in your exam, and the most common type of question you're going to see in your exam is a rationalizing the denominator question. Okay, as stated, the most common surd exam questions are on rationalizing the denominator. In 2018, paper 1, question 11 for 2 marks, we're asked to express 9 over root 6 with a rational denominator. We're asked to give an answer in its simplest form. So as stated, to rationalize the denominator of a fraction of this type, we multiply both the numerator, the top, and the denominator, the bottom, by the surd and then simplify where possible. So let's do that. 9 over root 6, we multiply both the top and bottom by root 6. So this is 9 times root 6 over root 6 times root 6. This gives us 9 root 6 over 6 because root 6 times root 6 is just 6. We can then simplify further. We find a common factor. We can divide top and bottom by 3. So this gives us 3 root 6 over 2, which is our answer. Okay, and our next example is from 2015, paper 1, question 13, and is for 3 marks. Express 4 over root A with a rational denominator. Give your answer in its simplest form. Okay, so let's multiply both top and bottom by the surd that's on the bottom. So that's 4 times root 8 over 8, root 8 times root 8, which gives us 4 times root 8 over 8. Now we have root 8, we want to use the surds multiplication rule, and we can split out the root 8 into root 4 times root 2. So this gives us 4 times 2 root 2, because the root of 4 is 2, shown in blue. And this gives us 8 root 2 over 8. And then we can cancel the 8's out, and this gives us root 2 as our answer. So in this example, you saw there was an additional step involved. We had to use the surds multiplication rule to break out the root 8 into root 4 root 2, and that helped us simplify our surd further, hence the 3 marks, the extra mark. In our next example, which is from 2019, paper 1, question 12, we're asked to express root 2 over root 40 as a fraction with a rational denominator and give your answer in its simplest form. And this is for 3 marks. So root 2 over root 40, first thing we want to do is multiply top and bottom by the surd to get the surd off the bottom. So that's root 2 times root 40 over root 40 times root 40. So this gives us root 2 times root 40 over 40. We've rationalized the denominator. And now we need to look to simplify this. So let's multiply the root 2 times root 40. So this gives us root 80 over 40. Now we want to look for factors that are square numbers. Well, 80 is equal to 16 times 5. So we can use the surds multiplication rule. Let's split this out into root 5 times root 16 all over 40. Root 16 we know is 4. So this gives us root 5 times 4 over 40. Or 4 root 5 over 40. We can then divide top and bottom by 4, and this gives us root 5 over 10, which is our answer. So the most common surds questions you'll see in exams are rationalizing the denominator questions, because they normally involve an element of simplification where you'll bring in the multiplication rule or the division rule or the addition and subtraction rule. Next steps, section revision and section test. So by now you should have covered all the learned material for this section. You should have stepped through each individual topic's learned material, watching the videos or reading the text to learn about the skills within that topic. You should have stepped through the practice for each topic and continued the practice until you mastered the skills for each individual topic, and you've just completed the exam prep topic for this section. So what's next for you? Okay, you should do the section revision, which is in effect more practice. In this section revision, you will be presented with questions that will cover all skills within this section, and the questions will be at an exam level. As with other practices, the questions will be supported with hints and full work solutions to assist in your learning. Please practice and revise until the system confirms you have mastered all section skills. Once you've mastered, you then move on to the section test. So please take the section test, and once you've taken the test, your test will be immediately marked and graded, and you will then be able to review the results of the test. You can step through all the questions that were presented in the test, and full work solutions will be presented. You should study solutions for any questions that you happen to get wrong, and close out any knowledge gaps by revisiting the relevant topics learned in practice areas as required. Once you feel you're ready, you should come back and take the section test again. You should repeat this cycle as many times as required until you consistently achieve a score of 90% or greater in the section test. Remember, the time and effort you put in now will develop your skills and also build the confidence you need to take into your exam. One final note before we close: print off the crib sheet for this section, which summarises all the key skills you learned in this section. You can write your own notes on the back of this crib sheet, and in that way you will have a handy one-page reference for the section as a whole.